Hey everybody, welcome to a very special edition of You Have to Watch This podcast and Brilliant But Lazy. I'm Alan.
I'm Ryan.
I'm Devin.
I'm Josh. Oh no. I was gonna let you end it.
No, I got it. I got it before you.
And he's Devin. Today we're going to not only be talking about the latest Marvel Cinematic Universe film, Deadpool and Wolverine, but we're also going to be talking about some Marvel news out of Comic-Con. The reason we're doing this crossover is because Deadpool and Wolverine is a crossover. Not because I don't want to have to edit two podcasts. But let's get into it. In case you are not familiar with You Have to Watch This podcast, it's the podcast I do on YouTube with my friends Devin and Ryan, where we make each other watch movies one of us has never seen. This week my pick was Deadpool and Wolverine because I haven't made the guys go to the movies for a while. So I figured this week was the time. We usually start off the show by talking about things in pop culture that we've seen over the last week, but today we're going to be talking about some of the news out of San Diego Comic-Con. We're going to start off briefly here with the news out of DC. They didn't have much. They were not present like Marvel was this year in Hall H. They revealed their new DC Studios logo. It's the DC logo that we all grew up with.
But it's got Superman flexing, right?
The animation has it. I think that's what they're going to use for the Superman movie.
Yeah, the
That's
logo
neat.
goes back to the old Converse style. And
Yeah,
it's just wow. It's every couple of years they change it back up.
Yeah.
Woo.
yeah.
Okay.
I was gonna say, is that good for you guys to see? Like, as DC fans, is it nice that they're going back to basics?
I like it.
I mean,
Yeah.
I don't care. I could
Yeah.
not care.
Yeah.
I couldn't care.
They also released a trailer for Creature Commandos, which is the first entry into the DC Studios universe, the DCU, as I think they're calling it. So it looked fine. I'll watch it when it's on Max. That was about. Yeah.
Ryan, do you have strong opinions about this?
Kind of, I do, yes.
What?
I really hate that it's off center. It's really bugging me.
What's off center?
The DC logo, the new DC Studios logo.
Oh,
the
It's
stars?
designed off center,
yeah.
and I hate it. Like it's like. It's like they're trying to be like, oh, let's just make it casual. Like someone threw it on the table and someone off to the side was like, that's our logo. And then the guy was like, oh yeah, I'll do it off. Like, no, it's dumb, stupid. Just center it. Okay, I'm good.
It's the 40-year-old sitting in the backwards chair of logos.
Yes. Okay.
Or could be maybe it's an internal copyright issue. Like, well, we can't use that logo, but if you off-center it a little bit, we can. The whole new logo.
I would
if
not
it's
be
a
surprised.
centimeter
I like
to
that.
the left. Yeah.
Love
I
it.
would not be surprised.
Over on the Marvel side of things, they had a little bit more revealed about Captain America: Brave New World. Harrison Ford came out on stage and was actually energetic for once. Did you guys see the trailer for this in front of Deadpool?
I
Quick
saw it on
thoughts.
YouTube like a week ago.
Okay, quick thoughts.
I mean, it.
Yeah, I saw.
I thought it.
Sorry.
I thought it looked. It looked good. There were parts of the trailer that looked Disney Plus quality, but for the most part, I thought it looked like it had the budget for an on-screen movie. I think they've edited the trailer that's online to no longer show the assassination attempt part of the trailer, since this came out days before. The whole Trump thing went down. So I think it's been edited now to not show that scene, but that's clearly a big part of the trailer. And it's just an interesting time for that trailer to come out, I guess.
Oh boy.
Otherwise, I thought the trailer was good. I think a lot of people that I talked to didn't realize that Harrison Ford is playing, what's his name? Ross. And yes, he has the mustache line in the beginning, but most people didn't even catch that. They were just like, oh, okay, it's an election joke, not it's a nod to the classic mustache of Ross. And with William Hurt gone, this is their way of, he just looks a little different. So other than that, I thought it was a pretty interesting trailer, and I'm excited to see what happens.
Yeah. They did reveal at Comic-Con that this film will explore adamantium appearing in the MCU for the first time.
Okay.
From that giant Eternal that's just kind of chilling in the ocean.
That's what I heard.
So-
I heard they were made of adamantium. That's kind of cool.
I'm just glad we saw more Isaiah because I
Yeah.
loved him in the show. So I don't know if he's like a Manchurian Candidate type character in this film or not, but he looks good. I like that actor all the way back, going back to Alias, but I loved him in the show. So
Yeah.
can't wait to see more of him.
Yeah, I'm excited to see this one. It comes out in February. They did a little bit about Thunderbolts. I don't really have anything to say about that. But the big thing that we did see otherwise is the Fantastic Four film with Pedro Pascal got its title, First Steps. A trailer may or may not have leaked online. We may or may not have seen it. I really like the style of this film. I'm excited to see it. I think the casting is great. Like Pedro Pascal as Reed Richards looks great. I like the vibe of this film, and the fact that it's going to be scored by Michael Giacchino just gets me even more excited.
It's got a style of movie or like a style to it that I haven't seen a Marvel movie do yet. And that makes it feel fresh. And I think that's what I keep hearing people say about it, is that like this movie seems like it's going to do something a little different. And I like that a lot.
Yeah.
I think Marvel knows how to bring a certain aesthetic to a production. I mean, we saw several different aesthetics in the WandaVision show, and that's, when you're speaking of like the era that this Fantastic Four film might be in, that's what I thought of first with some of the earlier eras on WandaVision. So I think it looks great. I'm more intrigued of content because this will be the fourth Fantastic Four movie to officially release, the fifth one altogether, and we'll see if they get it right. And there was the tease of the big bad at the end, and he is ginormous. So we'll see if they can pull that off.
I'm curious about it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, me too.
I love the cast. I've said it already. I love the cast. What's his name from The Bear is like my favorite character in The Bear. So I think it's going to be interesting to have his PG-13 version of him on the movie.
Yeah.
But we'll see what he does. And
Josh, we lost
I'm
your
gonna check
video.
what's going on with my camera.
Yeah.
Yep.
So while Josh does that, one of the things that was revealed about the Fantastic Four is that they will not only be appearing in this film, but also in the next two Avengers films, which also had some big announcements made. Mainly that they have retitled Avengers 5. Was the Kang Dynasty. It is now Avengers Doomsday, coming out in May 2026.
Oh, I didn't know that.
The big news is the film will once again be directed by the Russo brothers. Joe and Anthony Russo are returning to direct. They also directed Endgame and Infinity War, and before that, Civil War and Winter Soldier. So that was some of the big news for the new Avengers films. I think that news kind of leaked before Comic-Con, but it was like Kevin Feige was denying it on the press tour for Deadpool and Wolverine. So that was the first big news about the next Avengers films that came out. They also did a thing that the internet kind of predicted, but as a joke. So if you guys remember when when Kang got in trouble and got fired from the role, one of the things that I saw was who are you going to recast as Kang? And my favorite meme for that whole thing was Robert Downey Jr. in Tropic Thunder. Guys, guess who they got to replace Kang? Not only in Doomsday and Secret Wars, but Robert Downey Jr. as Doctor Doom.
Oh, man.
Yep.
I have mixed feelings on this. What do you guys think of Robert Downey Jr.'s return to the MCU as Victor Von Doom? Or a variant of Doctor Doom?
I am afraid that this is going to be continuing the multiverse involvement going forward heavily in movies, because I'm afraid it's going to be like, this is an evil Stark. Like, this is Stark if he went bad, and it turns into Doctor Doom. And I'm just, this is the stuff is why I'm burned out on Marvel.
But I
It's this
think,
type of stuff.
and you guys on the call might know this better than I do. I think that is in comic accurate. There is a version of Stark that does turn into Doctor Doom, right? Like that's not something that Disney would have made up.
I believe so. I believe that is something
Yeah.
that has happened before.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Correct.
I woke up to at least 3 people that I know going, Devin, what do you think of Robert Downey Jr. back? I'm like, I don't know, man. I really don't. Like, my honest reaction to it is that the movie that we're going to talk about, a character runs around going, I think I might be Marvel Jesus. I think Robert Downey Jr. might be Marvel Jesus. Like, that might be it.
if he,
The movie we're going to talk about also mentioned how the multiverse films are just going to shit, and I feel like this is just another example. I mean, I think I know a lot of people are cheering and can't be more excited about this, but I thought it was kind of already a desperate move for them to announce that the Russo brothers were coming back when they were looking at so many other talented directors to possibly breathe new life. Not to say that the Russo brothers didn't breathe new life into the MCU. They definitely did. But I thought that was desperate. But this just, to me, it was super desperate.
A little too much.
Yeah. This at least gives me a little bit of hope that they have a direction now, because not only are they bringing back the Russo brothers, I think one of the writers from Infinity War and Endgame and Civil War and all of that, it was Marcus or McFeely. One of them is returning to write these scripts, so that gives me a lot more hope. Now that they have like a plan, because for the last year and change, it's been, what's the plan now that you can't rely on Kang? Now we know it's Doctor Doom. I'm curious to see how they do it, because here's the thing: like it can be Robert Downey Jr. If he's in the helmet the whole time, we're not going to see his face. If we do, he's probably going to be scarred. But you also have that element of when he comes in, like you're going to have characters like Peter Parker be like, Mr. Stark, like the confused, like if they're going up against him, like will it be revealed to them that he's not Tony Stark, or what's that going to be? There's some interesting things that you can do with this, but we'll see. I don't think they got him back without a good story to tell.
I sure hope so. I really do.
But that's about it from Comic-Con. Hey, Josh is back.
Hey, welcome back.
Different camera, but we'll make it work.
Yeah, it works. Yeah. Anything else from Comic-Con we want to talk about that we missed, or should we just LFG?
I mean, there's definitely the stuff around Deadpool, was great. I'm trying to think of anything else. Not Marvel related, but there was a Dexter panel that I got really excited about. I don't know who of y'all grew up on Dexter, but I loved Dexter. They released a trailer for the new show, which is Dexter Original Sin, which I believe is Dexter graduating from high school. Christian Slater is playing his adopted dad, and Michael C. Hall will be the inner monologue voice of Dexter, which I don't care. More Dexter, let's do it. And then during the panel, they said that in January they will start filming Dexter Resurrection, which brings back Michael C. Hall in the role of Dexter and continues the story from where it left off in the last Dexter series. So
no way.
That's what they said. So let's bring on more Dexter.
How was the last series? I didn't watch it. Oh no! It is not easy to watch over here, so that's why I haven't seen it yet.
Okay. I mean, it's Dexter. I think people were torn on whether or not it was better than the last season of Dexter, and that's obviously a low bar. So.
Oh no.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons why I never picked it back up, because like I love every season of Dexter except for the last season of Dexter. In fact, I didn't get it past like episode 5 of the last season. I was just kind of like I'm good to not know what happens to him going forward.
So it doesn't get better from that episode.
Yeah, no,
Yeah, sadly
that's what I've
not
heard.
really.
And so, like, I think my wife and I were talking about re-watching the series and finally trying to get through the last season because of this and because of this announcement. So,
Rewatching Dexter sounds like a really good idea.
It does.
I really like that.
especially
I've
right
never
now
seen
in the
it.
summer, it'll fit.
What?
I strongly suggest it was ahead of its time. It's certainly been mirrored and referenced and copycatted since, but
Yeah.
it was definitely ahead of its time when it came out.
So is this before or after he has a laboratory?
This is after.
This is
That was
a great deal
childhood
after. Yeah.
Dexter.
Yeah.
This is but he's still in a lab. He's literally the lab technician for the police force.
That's
So
true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It also spawned one of the best early memes on the internet.
Oh yeah, it was. It really was.
Did you guys see the news about the Boys prequel, Vought Rising?
I did.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jason Eccles and I forget the actress's name.
Nazi chick.
Yeah.
Oh, her.
Stormfront.
Storefront.
Yeah, they're getting a prequel series that tells the story of Vought's uprising in that universe.
Is it too much boys now? Are we at too much
I mean,
boys?
it kind of is.
Yeah.
Like the Gen Z or Gen V or
Gen
whatever,
V.
Gen V was actually pretty damn good. Like I really liked that spinoff. This feels just, and it also like is part of the main canon and it's part of the current and the new season. So that's why I liked it. This feels like okay, like added content, and Jensen Ackles is already a part of the main show, so maybe he just wants more screen time or something. I like him in the role, but I don't know if it's necessary, but we'll see.
Yeah.
And we all loved the animated series, right?
Yeah, sure.
Right.
Sure.
Oh, okay. Yep. So good. Thanks, guys.
Okay.
All right. Let's get into today's main topic, which is
Let's fucking go. Come on.
Let's fucking go. Deadpool and Wolverine, starring Ryan Reynolds and 24 years strong Hugh Jackman as Wolverine. We will be getting to our thoughts on the ending here shortly. Stay tuned. We're gonna go through the film. We're gonna go through the film with spoilers in a bit. We're gonna give our general thoughts first, and then give a clear spoiler warning for everyone at home to be aware of. So first thing I want to say is walking into pulling into the theater to see this, I could tell this is going to be different because I have not had to search for a parking spot at a movie theater in years. My theater was jam-packed. How was the turnout for you guys?
Jam-packed. Also completely booked out.
No, same. I went on a Thursday night and it was packed. They had 23 showings on a Thursday night.
Wow.
Whoa.
In one theater, and it's admittedly the shitty theater in town. So I can only imagine what the nicer theaters were doing. But they had 23 showings on Thursday and then 23 showings on Friday, and I considered going back again on Friday, and I couldn't find a seat until like the last showing of the night. And then by that point, I was like, "No, my old ass is just wait till a different day on the weekend to see it." But the theater was packed, and I was impressed and just I felt giddy.
I think the last time go ahead, Ryan.
Yeah, so I have kind of a similar story. So I bought tickets like Tuesday, I think, or like Monday. And when I went to buy tickets, there were only 10 spots available left in the theater to pick from. And they were all either up front, and there were 3 seats in the very back row, like all together. And I'm like, I'm going to make this difficult because I want to be comfortable. So I bought the middle seat in that group of 3 that were open.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah.
So I bought that middle one, and I was thinking to myself, what are the odds that 3 random people are going to go on their own to see this? So I was like, at least I'll have on one side of me, I'll have an open seat so I don't feel like I'm getting crammed. Well, two other guys also showed up to watch it on their own.
Oh, of
So you
course they
had
did.
a family over to my left, a seat over, a family over to my right, a seat over, and me, and then another guy on his own, and another guy on his own. And it was one of those things where it was like before the movie started, it was so awkward because I think all three of us were like trying to keep our elbows in, trying not to like it's like make a mess
No
while
footsies.
eating. Yeah, like we were trying to like be as comfortable as possible with all of us going there. Just be like, we just want to see the movie. Like, why do I have to be sitting next to a like just like a random person? And I have to say, this is the first time I've seen a movie with a full packed theater since Alan and I went to go see Rogue One. Like that was the last time I was in a full
Nice.
packed theater.
Wow.
So, yeah.
So based on the theme of the movie, by the end of the screening, were you guys all sharing a blanket and just cuddling up, or or was it still like separate, keep your own space by the end of the film?
You could tell
We
us
were
off
all
screen.
rubbing each other's feet.
Oh,
Kinky.
gross.
So walking into the theater, in case you're listening to the show and can't see what I am wearing right now, I am wearing my Deadpool unicorn pool floaty that's shaped like and also a donut pool floaty Hawaiian shirt. I walked into the theater wearing this, and I had a kid come up to me like, "Great shirt. You here to see Deadpool?" It's like, "There's a Deadpool movie out? Damn it! I'm here to see Despicable Me 4." And he just looked at me. I was like, "Yes, I'm here to see Deadpool. Like, come on." And then I just kept getting
How old
compliments.
was the kid?
Like, at least 16.
Oh,
So
you
I
didn't
thought you were
teach
gonna say
someone
at
what
least
sarcasm
6.
was.
At least 6,
yeah. But I kept getting compliments on the shirt, like as I was standing in line to get popcorn. It's like, yeah, it's a cool shirt. It's comfy too. But I definitely didn't just buy it to do the podcast. I did that. So, without getting into spoilers, we talked about our movie theater experience. What did you guys think of the film itself without getting into spoilers? Like, overall thoughts. Did we enjoy it? Or like, what's the consensus?
I'll go first. I
Go
think I did not go into it with crazy huge expectations. I know a lot of people were like saying this is the film that's going to make or break the MCU, and while the trailers like teased the Marvel Jesus thing, I just did not go into it with those expectations. I in fact I wanted it to be less about Marvel and more about the two title characters and whether or not that would transfer into the Marvel universe. And I've talked to 5 different people, and they all had different opinions on whether or not it was the best Deadpool or the worst Deadpool or whatever. I thought it was a great film, and I would rank it second in the Deadpool movies, with Deadpool 1 being on top. But I really enjoyed the film. It wasn't over complicated or convoluted with how they were getting Logan into it. They didn't, bore us down with crazy plot tactics or multiverse things. And of all the multiverse films we've had, I thought this was probably the least plot heavy, but the most fun. So I had a blast watching it.
Devin, how about you?
Oh, sorry.
No, I really love this movie. I do. I like Deadpool, right? I think I like Deadpool more than most people on this call, at least like the Deadpool movies. I didn't get like sick of the second one. I liked it better than the first one. I like this movie a lot. I knew that I would like the movie. I didn't know that there was the like expectation that it was going to like set the Marvel universe straight. I don't like that for it. I like it better as, and this is without spoilers, I like it better as a send-off to Fox Marvel. More than I like it as doing anything at all with the MCU itself. I don't know that I want to see Deadpool in like the new Avengers movie based on this, but I like this movie a lot and I'm very happy with what I got.
Mm-hmm.
Ryan?
I'm kind of the opposite of Devin towards the end there. I want to see this launch Deadpool more into the mix for the future when it comes to the Avengers movies. I went into this just honestly just expecting it to be just Deadpool 3 and like Wolverine was a part of it. That's the only expectations. I wasn't expecting anything more than that. Um this is going to wind up in my immediate Blu-ray collection under my Xbox that I have. Like this
Nice.
is going to add my like because I have like 4 Marvel movies that I have the Blu-ray of like right there for me to grab and put in if I want. And this is going to be added to that. So
Is this the
I
first
really enjoyed it.
X-Men or Deadpool related one to be added to that?
Um, no, because part of that collection is technically a box set of the first 3 original X-Men movies.
Oh.
Okay. Yeah. Cool.
So
Cool.
All right.
Alan?
I never watched
Alan,
the
what did you
third
think?
Yeah.
one.
I fell asleep. No, no. I really enjoyed it. I think it does a great job of not bogging itself down with explaining how he's able to jump into the MCU at the beginning and then like deal with the multiverse stuff. It just, you don't have to have seen Loki to understand it. They just jump into it. They don't have to explain anything. They just go for it. And it's a lot of fun. It's a great send off to the Fox films. And I think that like one of the best things about X-Men Origins Wolverine was the chemistry between Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman. And I think the two of them in this film are fantastic. I think that's the reason they've been marketing it together so heavily. Like this is their movie. Like it's not a Deadpool movie. This is a Deadpool and Wolverine movie. And their online relationship and chemistry has built up to a point where this film was able to be what it is and was able to be marketed the way it was. And it met all my expectations. I was surprised by some things, which is in the age of the internet that we live in. Like I was very surprised by, like you wouldn't think that some of this was spoiled for me. There were things that weren't, and I'm very happy about that. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. We'll get into the comment here about production design here shortly when we get into spoilers. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. I want to go see it again.
Same. Like immediately. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think I will be seeing it again in about 2 weeks' time, and like I can't wait. I'm so excited for it, and like I don't usually see movies like twice in theaters, so I'm really excited for this.
So real quick before we move on to spoilers, over on Brilliant But Lazy, which is the show Josh and I do for our friends at Victims and Villains, which focuses on mental health and suicide prevention through pop culture. Brilliant But Lazy is the pop culture show. We talk a lot about Marvel, Star Wars, DC, things like that. Before we get into the spoilers, we always rate a film brilliant or lazy. So we're going to take a moment to do that here with Deadpool and Wolverine. I'm going to give Deadpool and Wolverine a brilliant.
I could see how some people would say brilliant but lazy, or even lazy, because there's not a crazy ton of plot in this film. But it's so damn good, and it gives you what you want and gives you things you didn't know you want, and it's fun, and it does not stop. I mean, it's just going full speed throughout the whole damn film, and I just had a blast. So I would second that. Brilliant for me.
Devin,
Can I play?
Yes.
Yeah, I want to do this. I again love it, absolutely love it. It was what I wanted. I understand the whole like comment of there's not a lot of plot. The villain was relatively forgettable. Fine, but brilliant.
Obviously it's me. I'm not going to make this easy. So I'm going to say about 20% lazy, 80%, 20% lazy, 80% brilliant. I'll explain that when we get into spoilers. It's more of a personal thing than anything else.
So we would call that a brilliant butt.
Yes. Okay. So it is a brilliant butt. It is a brilliant, comma, but with one T. With one T.
And that Xbox controller that Deadpool released has a brilliant butt.
I want it so bad.
Of course you do. Of course you do. I may have bought
Especially
it for
if
you
it
for
has
Christmas.
a vibrate pack, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, exactly.
All right. So now this is your official spoiler warning for the show. We just happen to be 30 minutes in, so that works out perfectly.
Nice.
So this is your spoiler alert. We're going to get deep dive into everything Deadpool and Wolverine starting now. So where do we want to start with
You want to
spoilers,
just
guys?
do like chronologically? There's so much stuff.
There's
I
so
feel
much
like,
to
Sure.
dig. Yeah.
like, we don't have to go scene by scene,
we
but
we
it
don't.
kind of just
I want to start off.
It'd be easier to just go chronologically.
Yeah. I want to start off with I was not expecting the first cameo of this to be Jon Favreau as Happy.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
That was fun.
That was fun. That was fun.
I wanna-
and rightfully so, because he's been a huge part of the MCU, from the director's chair to the actor's chair to the just pushing the nerddom in and making it happen. So yeah, it was great.
Part of me wonders if they wrote that scene for Kevin Feige to do, and they're like, no, we're gonna make it in universe.
Well, I didn't see why not, because I wondered if there was a scene for Feige to be in, because he was very much a part of the Fox Marvel films before he came over to the MCU. So, yeah, I mean, he's definitely the man at the top, but I feel like he was instrumental in those earlier films. That's why maybe he's a little more open to some of the digs that are in this film, because there's a lot of them that I was like, oh shit. Like
I was talking about that.
Disney let that go through?
Yeah, there's a couple of digs where I'm like, that's rough.
Yeah. But I did like seeing Favreau in there. I thought that was a great scene. So,
I want to watch the movie again just to catch all of the Easter eggs of things behind him in that office.
Yeah.
oh yeah.
Because there's a lot
in
of
that
stuff.
office.
Like there's the Iron Man mask that the kid who's supposedly Peter Parker wears in Iron Man 2. A lot of little things.
Yeah.
But I enjoyed that. I like that it still tied into the Deadpool movies. Like it didn't rely too much on the plot. Like I rewatched. Like I didn't go back and watch all the Deadpool movies. I just went back and watched Deadpool, Once Upon a Deadpool before this because I like that version. And I was like, yeah, these are the same characters that we know. Like you know what happened at the end of that, and we're time jumping a few years because it's been a few years.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. If you start thinking about it, it doesn't. Like, I don't necessarily remember that Cable's little device could jump universes, but whatever. That's just what it does at the end of Deadpool 2, and that's what they do here. He jumps over to an MCU verse. But I liked the setup, and that Wolverine was or Logan was the anchor person for this universe, and with him gone, similarly with the Marvel universe itself, everything was just starting to crumble apart. And I liked the idea that the TVA guy was like, I don't want this to drag on. Let's just kill it fast.
Yeah.
And and that's significant with the Fox Marvel verse. I feel like they were kind of crawling and killing themselves after the Logan film, with the X-Men movies just continuing to go downhill and whatnot. And so I liked that tie-in. And then just how they started it off with, I know what you're all wondering, how are we going to, do the end of Logan respectfully? And then they're like, we're not.
Yeah. Because there's no other way to address that. Like it's,
No.
and I think that sequence set to that music is the funniest thing that they could have done to acknowledge Logan's ending and then move on from it. Like, I enjoyed that so much.
Well, that, and it fits into, like, for everyone who knows the relationship that Wolverine and Deadpool share throughout the comic books and all the different media, him using Logan's remains the way he did just fit. And Alan's point is in the music. So So everyone who already knows the established like relationship that you know that those two characters have, that's a treat like to watch, and
Yeah.
just knowing that. And then everyone else who's like new to this or only knows Marvel from the MCU, um, is getting to see Deadpool just be Deadpool. And it's entertaining enough on that level that you don't need that extra knowledge to make the opening probably the best opening to a Marvel film I have seen since like Endgame.
That's the Bye 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 song. I believe I read that it came out the same year as the first X-Men film, so that
Yeah.
Yeah.
went
Oh,
into
that's
part
fun.
of the
Ooh.
choice of that. But the spot-on choreography cut in between him just using every piece of the skeleton to kill these dudes. That was quite the sequence.
It was incredible.
Okay,
It-
so
Yeah.
I had to fact check this quick before I said it on the show. The
Mhm.
official NSYNC YouTube channel has changed the title of the music video for Bye Bye Bye. It is now NSYNC Bye Bye Bye, official video from Deadpool and Wolverine.
Oh, that's
Nice.
incredible.
That's great.
Hey, that's the best. You know what? That's the best way for younger fans now, or for younger, like audiences. It makes it easier to find when you Google the
Yeah,
song.
it is.
I just
It'd
know
be, like,
somewhere.
opening song to
Justin Timberlake's going like, this is going to be great for the world tour.
Exactly.
especially after what happened to him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the music in this, like when I was getting the show ready, I was listening to the Deadpool playlist that had like all the songs from this one and like the Celine Dion song from Deadpool 2.
Oh, yeah.
But I
mean,
think the soundtrack for this one was fantastic. We'll talk a little bit more about some of the stuff.
we'll have to.
Devin, did you recognize Mr. Paradox at all?
Yeah, he was from Secession. I love seeing him. He also, I don't know if this is for you guys, but before it, he's also in a Mercedes-Benz commercial that played just before the movie, because we do product commercials before our movies here sometimes. And that was really fun to see too, because I just like him with a British accent quite a lot. Did you guys like Mr. Paradox at all? Like, how was he as a villain for you guys?
He was a good weasel.
Yeah, but that's what he was supposed to be, right? Like,
He didn't need to be anything more than that.
yeah, he was a middle manager that
Yeah.
did too much, right?
Yeah.
And wanted to overstep
Yeah.
his boundaries. That I thought he was perfect for it.
He was the perfect example of, like you said, middle management, and particularly at some companies where it's like, I want to do something to get my name for advancement, so I'm going to do something pointless that has already been established we really shouldn't do for me to get ahead. And then it just, it ruins everyone else's day that works under them, especially the one guy who had to call HR.
He was so good.
Yeah. I thought he was great. I mean, he
Yeah.
was just. I didn't need some deep story behind him. He was just someone who was trying to move up, and this was a quick way to do it.
Yeah.
So Deadpool learns he has to save his universe and his method of doing that is finding another Logan to replace the one that died. So then we get a montage of all the different variants of Wolverine. I need
have
to
a
know,
question.
yes.
Sorry.
What is your question?
Okay, so I recognized all of them, but I think I developed a false memory.
Okay.
And that revolves around the pirate James Bond Logan
Patch.
that I need to
Yes.
patch. Okay, yeah. Because I got a flash of like all of the Logans he came across. I had a flash of either like images I've seen online from like comic books that like depict that specific Logan, or like they picked the most famous scene from the comic that like people should know. But then I saw him and I got the flash and I'm like, I don't feel comfortable with that. Have I seen that? Did that exist, or did I just make that up because my brain's been bringing up all these images throughout? So like patches are like. Comic or cartoon? Like, which one was that? Like,
It was a comic.
Yeah.
comic.
Is it?
Okay,
Yeah. I can't tell you what comic it's from, but I
That's
did
fine.
recognize the the coat
Okay.
and the hair and yeah.
Okay.
So what were your guys' favorite versions of Logan in that montage?
There's a right answer here.
There is a right answer, and his name is
Danny DeVito.
Henry Cavill.
Oh.
That was that was
Wolverine is the best
Cavalry.
one.
Wolverine. No.
I loved that segment. I was like, they
Oh.
were building up to it. I'm like, this isn't gonna be him. And he turns around and, oh, we're gonna do you so much better than those,
The guys
asshats
across the
down the
street.
street or whatever he said. Yeah. And I was like, yes. And he even does the Mission Impossible juke things with his arms to get
Yeah.
his claws out,
Oh.
just like he did in Fallout. And I was like, yes. But no, I loved that whole sequence because we got so many different hair versions, so many different size versions. We got crazy small Wolverine, which was great.
That was such a great way
loved
to
it.
start the sequence too. Like it's just Wolverine like him, and then he gets down and he's like 4 feet
Pops
tall.
off the bar stool. And
Yeah.
Yeah.
For all
Oh,
the
man.
purists out there. Yeah.
I think mine was not because of Wolverine, but it was because of Deadpool's reaction of the one with him nailed on the X, and
Oh, yeah.
Deadpool's just like, "You seem okay. I'm gonna go," and he just like
Yeah,
dips
it's
out.
not
on
you.
him.
We're just going to go in a different direction. Yeah.
Yeah.
The Hulk version was great, not only because he was
Yes.
Wolverine was in the brown suit, but they recreated the Hulk reflection on the blades, which was cool, and it was just
That's
enough.
the-
I know
that's
people
the only
probably
one I
wanted
know.
more, but yeah.
Oh, really?
That was cool.
That was the only one I knew, to be fair. I
you didn't
I
recognize
think
the X crucifixion or
I-
the
it
any of
seemed
that?
vaguely familiar, but I don't think I've read that one. Like, I don't know what that's from. I think I've seen that image because it's a kind of an iconic image, and I'm
Yeah.
sure I've seen him in an eye patch before. But that was really it. And then I don't know. You guys might know this. Is there a bigger joke to Cavalrine other than it's just cool that it's him?
I think there's been online petitions to get him to take over.
Oh,
for Hugh
okay.
Jackman.
I was wondering
there's
if
been-
internet thing.
There's been a fan casting of him for a long time. Yeah,
Yeah.
That's so funny.
for years.
Yeah, and I'm hopeful that it can happen.
Well, now I am.
Yeah.
Now I certainly am.
He certainly kept the muscles for a reason,
Yeah.
Yes.
And it's not The Witcher.
Of all, I think this one beats the John Krasinski, Richard Reed cameo. I think
Yes.
the DeVille one knocks that one out of the
Yeah.
park. Yeah.
You're right. 100%.
So then we get the version of Wolverine that the movie features around, taken to TVA, then sent to the Void. What did you guys think?
And they delay telling us why everybody hates him, but they make it clear that mutants and regular humans hate this Wolverine collectively. Like they
Yes.
all know who he is and they all hate him. And I'm glad we didn't find that out until much later. I'm glad they kind of suspended that for most of the film because I really wanted to know what is the deal and is it going to be as impactful as Logan was? Because we already kind of had a similar thing in Logan, and I just didn't know if they were going to try to recreate that or do something different and how it would stack up. So I'm glad they delayed that for as long as they did.
Yeah, and we also get the reasoning for him wearing the yellow and blue suit in the.
We do.
film.
Yeah.
What did you guys
good scene that we can talk
what did-
about.
So we've waited 24 years for this. What did you guys think of finally seeing him in the suit? Did you sob like everyone on set when he did the camera test?
Oh, I thought it was cool. I thought it was very
Yeah.
cool. But it didn't look as stupid as I thought it was going to be. Even with the hood up, I thought it didn't look as stupid as I thought it was going to be. But I didn't sob. It was just cool.
Yeah.
It's definitely cool.
Yeah.
It was more cool when you found out why he was wearing it. Because,
Agreed.
Again,
Yeah.
they suspended that. Deadpool kept on asking, why are you still wearing this? And I loved it when we found out why. But I loved waiting into that point because it added more to that scene. But you were saying the Void. I love them
Yes.
going to the Void.
Yeah. Here's some of my favorite parts.
Yes.
I don't. I remember more of Loki season 2 than season 1. Was the Void in Loki season 1 as Mad Max as it is in this movie?
I think
Kinda?
so.
I think so. I haven't seen season 2.
Okay,
Yeah,
because this was definitely like Mad Max vibes, including the cars, and they even had the rig where the guitar guy would be chained up to. He just wasn't. And they do make a Mad Max reference, but it was definitely more Mad Max than I remember, I guess.
I think it's a different part of the void. Like, this is not the part where all the Lokis are hanging out.
Sure.
But boy, do we get some cameos in the void. Starting
We have to
off,
start with my favorite one.
well, so here's the thing. I learned on Friday a little bit about the history of Deadpool and Captain America. Did you know that Captain America is the only Marvel superhero that respects Deadpool?
What?
Yeah, because they are both government experiments. So he understands Deadpool. He has a little bit of he gets it, if you will.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. That's
Captain
so cool.
America, I feel like he would respect everybody to some degree. But
Yeah, but he understands Deadpool even with all the sense of humor and like the killing. Like he is sympathetic towards him. Like he has respect for Deadpool. No one else does. And Deadpool returns favor. Like that's why he salutes him when he sees him in the footage. Like,
which was great. I loved it when he saluted him. That was awesome. We didn't speak of the Thor footage. There was a little Thor thing in there that was weird.
Yeah.
I kept bringing up,
Yes, I absolutely love that, and I really when all of this ends and like Ryan Reynolds can't be part of this anymore, and like Chris Hemsworth can't be part of this anymore. At least an end credit scene where they explain that.
Yeah.
At some point, it could be like 15 years from now. I don't care, but they need to come back to that at some point.
Here's my question: was it Chris Hemsworth? Because it looked more like his brother.
Yeah, it looked like Luke.
Yeah, it looked like
it could have been Luke.
It looked like it was the actor who plays Thor in the Thor movies, like in all the plays.
Yeah, it's that, which is his brother Luke, and it looked like they just took didn't he do the scene with Matt Damon? They like recreated the Loki scene. So I thought maybe they just superimposed Deadpool into that, but
maybe
I couldn't really tell.
Yeah.
Going back to the Void though, did anybody have that reveal spoiled for them before going into the film? Because apparently it leaked online.
No.
And I learned my lesson from Endgame, and I avoided all social media all last week up until this film.
Yeah.
So, but I called it before the reveal happened. As soon as he took off the hood, and I saw the hair, and I saw his suit, and I'm like, his suit's not actually red and white. That's just things on his arm, and his hair. I'm like, this is Johnny Storm. This isn't Captain America.
As soon as I saw how much he was like, as soon as I saw that suit, I was like, that's going to have a giant 4 in the center of the chest. That's Johnny Storm. That is not, which is such a great bait and switch for like MCU fans. Cause everyone gets excited that Chris Evans here, like Captain America's back. Yeah. And then
including Deadpool.
It's such a
Deadpool's like shocked when he starts cussing, and he's got that accent that he had in Fantastic Four, and I'm like, this is Johnny Storm. And then the whole Avengers Assemble, and instead he says Flame On, and I'm like, yes, I knew it. The crowd in the theater erupted. I loved it.
Such a great reveal. I'm glad there were some cameos that were spoiled for me because of my own stupidity, which we'll talk about later. But that one was not. I was very happy to see that.
Yeah.
Was also happy he didn't die right then, because I thought they did kill him right then, because they got Pyro from the X-Men films that totally negates his fire, and then he falls comically and hits himself, and I'm like, they did not just kill him off like that. But no, we did get a couple more scenes with him, which I appreciated. So it was just the right amount of Johnny Storm.
Yeah,
I was actually really surprised when he started talking after the fact, and then the camera cut to him, and I'm like, he's still alive? No, because like I had no idea. And to be honest, for a Deadpool movie, I was expecting that to just be it. Like he falls and like breaks his back and his skull, and then he's done. And so the fact that he kept on going, like that was a treat for me because I was just like, oh, cool, they did this. Oh, look, it's over. Okay, let's move on.
Yeah.
A lot of X-Men villain cameos here.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, some with the
Yes.
original actors, some or variants, I guess is how you could say it. I think when the first trailer came out, people were seeing the pixelated bodies in the background saying, this is this person, this is this person. And maybe only like 25% of them were the actual actors, and the rest, as soon as it was in HD on the big screen, you're like, that's not the person. But it's still fun to see.
It's definitely not
Yeah.
Vinnie Jones as Juggernaut.
No.
I was like, did Vinnie Jones just get... Yeah, because it's like super skinny. I'm like, no, that's not him. Obviously not.
Vinnie Jones. I bet they called Vinnie Jones. Like, I said the thing. I'm not going back.
Right.
You're done with me. Yeah, I did the Juggernaut line. I don't need to do it again. Get somebody else.
I think they had the Asian chick who was from
Lady
X2.
Deathstrike. Yeah.
She was different. I thought the Azazel actor was the same, but I heard even he wasn't the same. But he looked the closest to Azazel, or to the actual actor for me. But I'm pretty sure Toad was still.
It looked like him.
Mm-hmm. And Pyro obviously was Pyro.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they had other ones. I was gonna ask you guys: was the guy in the Popeye red and white shirt, was that supposed to be the Russian from the Punisher movie?
Oh shoot!
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah,
that's what I was thinking.
That's a good
but,
call.
Like, it seemed like.
I think that was.
You know what? I'm
Punish-
just gonna run with it and say that it is.
Yeah. That was the Thomas Jane Punisher movie, is what I was thinking of, in that apartment complex.
Yeah,
That's the only thing I could think of, was that big old Russian dude. But I doubt it was that actor. But yeah, I was like, what is with this Popeye-looking guy? I don't know what this is from.
Because that shirt is very distinctive.
It is.
And it is a Marvel Fox. It's a Marvel Fox property. So I'm just gonna run with it and say that that's him aged up, a few years, and that's why he looks the way he did. My favorite though was Sabretooth showing up with Toad.
Yes.
Like those two come. Like I said, I have the box set of the original X-Men movies. Like I watched those through high school. So to see him come back with his giant blonde mane of hair and the teeth and the eyes and everything.
And talking
his death
more
came
than
too
roaring.
quick for me. His death came a little bit too quickly for me personally, but I get it.
We all wanted that fight back in 2001 or 2000 or whatever, and I was, we got more Sabretooth in the Wolverine Origins movie, but I was glad to see this original Sabretooth come back.
And even Deadpool's like, it's your brother. Real quick, it was the same actress who played Lady Deathstrike, Kelly Hu, returned.
Was?
Oh, cool.
Oh, wow. I didn't think
and
it looked like her.
And it was Ray Park as well. So
Okay.
Nice.
Yeah. I knew it was him. Yeah. What did you think of Xavier's twin?
Cassandra Nova, played by
her
Emma
first
Corrin.
reveal.
I wish they hadn't shown it in the trailer. I avoided the trailers. I think if they didn't show that shot, it would have been, is this a Charles variant? Is Charles in charge here?
Yeah.
See
I see what you did that.
Yeah.
That was not on purpose, and I'm proud of myself. But I liked her reveal. I liked her powers because they're similar to Charles, but she has to get her hands dirty.
Don't love that.
Yeah,
No.
I didn't like it. It was, but it's not something we've seen before.
It's different. Yeah.
Yeah.
I have not seen the comics that she's in, but apparently she only really does that in maybe one or two comic panels in her main story. So that's not a thing she does a lot in the comics, but they do it a lot here just because it's visually creepy as fuck. And I did enjoy that because how, is it just the really focusing hard while touching your brain? How do you make telepathy cool, or telepathic powers cool? And that was definitely a visual way to do it, and it creeped me out every time.
Yeah,
I enjoyed that.
That definitely, to me, it was perfect. Because, one, you got the effect of her literally dragging someone by the skull.
Yeah.
That way.
Yes.
And then, seeing the outline of her fingers under the skin, just kind of like it was like under a blanket or a sheet. And then that also led to some terrific Deadpool jokes about her fingers, which was amazing on that standpoint alone. So I'm happy that they did it as much as they did, because it did add up. Because Deadpool's gory and it's funny gory. That was straight up creepy, and I'm happy that they were able to pull that off in a movie like this.
And they did extend her fingers for the character as well. She had prosthetic fingers to make them slightly longer, but they weren't like comically longer. But it worked.
What I'm kind of relieved by is like the MCU has gotten a lot of flack for the CGI with some stuff. Like Doctor Strange in that third eye like looked bad, and I think the CGI of her hands in the faces looked good.
Yeah.
In the comments, we had somebody mention that the production design was terrible. The Void looked like Vancouver. The Void in Loki was much more convincing than the Void in Deadpool and Wolverine. I think I looked at it as it's just a different corner of the Void. Like it's a void. Like it's going to be big parts of it, and you see like the different landscapes. It's like a different part of the Minecraft sea that they're exploring.
They had the desert. They had the tree.
Yeah.
The forest area. I mean, it was probably the least amount of work that they put into a location other than the Ant-Man aesthetic. But I mean, I didn't need the Void itself to be as much of a character as just a setting, and so I didn't mind that as much.
That, and I've always I don't think I watched Loki season 2. I watched season 1.
It's worth it. Go back and watch.
I have to do it too.
So with my experience with the Void is pretty much that.
Yeah.
But I kind of take the Void as it is just Earth. So if you have like sections of the Midwest and you have sections of Africa and Asia and Australia where it goes from like temperate forests to rocky regions to desert. And you literally travel a mile and you go straight from like one to the other. So the Void looking the way it is, I just take it as like, okay, it's Earth. Just not developed, and you've just got stuff lying around. Like that's it doesn't need to be any more than that.
Yeah. I did get one of my favorite jokes here, and Ryan, I was wondering if you connected this as well as I did, where in the Void, and I can't remember its name, the horse thing that eats people, the big cloud horse.
Is it Elias or something?
Elias, yeah. When it first came up on screen, Deadpool goes, "Oh, look, it's Elias from Loki season 1, episode 5."
I really
Sometimes that's what Marvel feels like to me now is, did you see this episode of this thing on Disney Plus? You'll get it. If not, whatever.
I mean, that's out of the comics. You get that little yellow info box for, do you not recognize what this is? Go check out this episode, comic issue. So I did appreciate that. I'm glad that the end credits scene helps this. But when he outs Johnny to her, that death was brutal. I was like, oh shit.
Oh man.
That was absolutely amazing. Because, I mean, especially after seeing Deadpool do everything that he did to, the Time Police up until that point and all of that was just next level. That, one of my favorite death scenes in just horror movies, probably top 10, is in Silent Hill, when Pyramid Head rips the skin off one of the pilgrims on the church steps and just throws the skin over to the side and drops the body. This is tied with that, because it's literally the exact same thing. But it's just it's funnier because you see Johnny's eyes just move over to her for a half second before he just falls into a pile of organs. It was great.
Part of me wonders if that was Chris Evans being like, hey, so you had that scene in Endgame that got deleted where Thanos throws my head at my feet from a different time, from the original timeline. Like I want to like just kill me. Like show me dead once. Like,
Make it
make it worse.
Yeah.
Like you thought that was
Yeah.
too much. Let's up it because now we're rated R.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But so they escape. They escape. They try to get her, but that doesn't work. But they do escape, and then we get the second fight between. We got multiple Deadpool Wolverine fights in this film, and they were each of them were for an extended period of time, which I appreciated.
Mm-hmm.
But you get the second one, which is in a minivan, and I loved that.
Set to grease.
Yeah, such a grease.
And I did not catch this, but I read it afterwards. When he's smashing his head against the car, the radio. One of the songs that's playing is from
Greatest Showman.
The Greatest Showman, which is so you had that plus the Music Man joke earlier, and which was just fantastic. But I loved that fight. That was a great fight.
So good.
Preceded by Wolverine making him speachless, just ripping in to him so hard that even I was like, okay, this is awkward,
Yeah.
He really showed how much of, how horrible of a person Deadpool really is, and to the point where he was quiet. And I was like, oh, snap.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was brutal.
That was a good scene. Yeah.
My favorite music moment of this movie, Alan, I know you said that we would get to that, but my favorite...
We're there.
Yeah.
Okay, so my favorite music moment of this movie has to do with that song from Avril Lavigne when they get into do the Honda Odyssey and that song turns on and they drive off. The reason being is because I have a very distinct memory of being a teenager and being easily influenced by MTV and seeing Avril Lavigne Skater Boy on, and I'm like, oh, okay, it's pop music, but it's kind of rocky. I'll get the album, it'll be whatever. And that's when I quickly realized that that was one of two songs that had that sound, and then everything else was just kind of quasi, just acoustic guitar pop, and one weird rap song. But anyway, that song came on, and that and that's my third favorite song on that album of hers. And of all of the choices they made throughout the whole movie, I was not expecting that's the one song I would never expect to hear in a movie ever. Especially a movie that I would want to go see. Right. And so it was just one of those things where it's this is great. I absolutely love this. This is the most random thing that anybody could really think of.
The last time I saw
remember
that...
the music video for that, too. That's the one where she's, walking in the rain home from the club, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I love that music video.
Last time I saw that song in anything pop culture, it was Smallville, which makes sense because it was the WB in the early 2000s. So, yes, that's where you would put
That
Avril
show had a
Lavigne.
great soundtrack. Yeah. For sure.
And then I need to give a shout out. That is the best Honda Odyssey you could buy between 2011 and 2017. That model Gen 4 version is of the Odyssey, and especially for modding, it has good wheel wells, and you can put good suspension under there, and you can make a nice, clean dadmobile that looks like something out of Fast and the Furious. Just gonna put that out there.
We had that model
too. You could
have
taught Sales Deadpool a lesson then.
You could have.
Yeah. Yeah.
I want to buy a car from Sales Deadpool.
So they beat the shit out of each other, and then someone drives them to a cabin, and this is where we get a lot more.
Oh boy,
cameos.
This was my favorite. This
were any of these?
And Alan, I called one of these earlier this year when me and you watched a certain couple of movies, and I was like, I hope this happens.
Yeah. So before we get into that, one of these was in the marketing at the last minute. Did you guys see the trailer that included one of these cameos?
No.
I avoided everything past the first trailer.
I did too, but they put X-23 in the last trailer because the actress wanted to go to the premiere, and they're like, you can't go to the premiere. But it was all Sean Levy, the director, is also like, yeah, we'll give you X-23 in the last trailer, but we've got so much more for you.
Yeah,
it doesn't even matter. That's what we're giving you. Wait until you see what we aren't showing you, which pays off. So
I did not see that trailer, but I did see a side-by-side comparison of an interview with her where she says, "No, I wish they would have called me, but I'm not in the film," with Andrew Garfield saying the same thing for Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny.
No Way
the
Home.
last one.
No Way Home.
No Way Home. And I think maybe maybe the studio felt bad, like we don't want this young gal having to lie so much, and I think most people kind of guessed that she would have a small role in it, so I wouldn't have been too surprised.
That or they felt bad, like, oh, the Acolyte's not doing what we thought it would. Let's let her go to the premiere, guys. Like,
yeah.
So we have X-23.
Mm-hmm.
Josh, I believe the cameo you were talking about is Elektra.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The first one to reveal themselves in that scene. As soon as you see her little, what's it called?
The sigh.
Sigh.
Her little sigh come up and block him. I was like, yes, she's here. I was so happy. Sydney Bristow is back. It's good stuff. Yeah.
So that one got leaked by the Hollywood Reporter. Like that made the trades that she was going to be in the movie, which it makes sense because she was in the Adam Project with Ryan Reynolds that was directed by Sean Levy. So that made sense.
Okay.
I was not expecting Wesley Snipes to show up.
No.
As Blade.
Yeah. So that was my biggest and favorite cameo of this movie because I love the Blade movies and I like Wesley Snipes. Like the Blade movies, Deadpool, White Men Can't Jump. Like I've always liked him as an actor. It's a shame he stopped acting and all of that and all of that stuff that happened. But when he came around the corner, like the guy to my left got super excited about Elektra. I got super excited about Blade, and then the guy that was sitting to my left must be a big Gambit fan because he got really excited about that one, which I have to say I absolutely loved. Being a fan of 21 and 22 Jump Street, that was the best casting decision in this movie, besides obviously the main actors, but that was literally like the best casting.
What, Channing Tatum?
Yeah, Channing Tatum.
Channing Tatum
So
as
do you know the history of that? Because there's a reason it's Channing Tatum.
No idea.
So
yeah,
he spent years trying to get a Gambit film made with him as Gambit because he's from Louisiana. Like he was at 2015 Comic-Con talking about the movie that they were working on.
Yeah,
for
Fox. He was like everything but officially cast, and they were working on the film, and it was going to be another. This was back when Wolverine Origins was. The reason why they called it Origins is because they were going to have several X-Men origin films, and Gambit was going to be one of them. And even they put Gambit in the Wolverine Origins film, and then they were like, okay, because we did that, we're going to have to put the Channing Tatum one on ice for a bit. But it was supposed to happen, and then it just never did.
Yeah.
And it was like something he worked for years to make happen.
It had several directors attached from 2015 to 2016, and then it finally fell apart in 2020. Like they finally no, it's not going to happen.
So with that context, all of his one-liners about the people that didn't get a chance to shine, when everybody else was looking for redemption, that's what that was all about.
Yeah. It was like
cool.
It added such a great level to
really
his
cool.
jokes.
Yeah.
Like if you knew that, when you go back and watch it now, like you hear his lines.
Yeah.
A lot of his lines I could not hear because of the laughing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And that's part of why I loved it so much because he is great at doing like vocal humor, especially with like stupid accents, because that's what he does. That's part of the stick that he does in a few scenes in the like Jump movies. That he throws on like a silly accent because he's forced to, and that's all I could think of whenever he was talking. And I forget the character from King of the Hill, but he pretty much made like
Boomhauer.
Gambit's voice. Yeah. He was doing a Cajun Boomhauer, which was just perfect as far as I was concerned, especially in that costume, being that it was like the cartoon accurate costume.
Dang it, Remy.
One of his campaigning points back in the day was, I can do a real Creole accent, and I can do it well. So this was purposely bad.
Yeah.
I am usually one, I love going to first screenings because I do love hearing, especially in Marvel movies, I do love hearing reactions, but I'm usually never one that does more than just like smile really hard when people start cheering. I'm not someone that's vocal. But when Blade stepped out, I audibly said, "Oh shit." And I loved it. I loved seeing Blade. He was skinny, old Blade, but I loved Wesley Snipes. He had the swagger in his walk. His one-liners were fantastic, especially the whole like "I'm the one and only" or "I'm the only Blade there's ever gonna be," which is very relevant with all of the production issues on the current Blade film. I thought that fucking cracked me up, and I loved seeing him. And also, I mean, especially since Ryan Reynolds was in Blade 3, and apparently they did not get along. So there had to have definitely been some bridges
think of that.
reassembled to get him into this film, because there was some bad blood between them two.
Did not know that.
Offset.
I forgot about that.
Yeah.
That makes it even more impressive.
Reading an article about that before we came on.
That's cool.
That's damn.
So I loved seeing him in there, and the best thing about those three, besides all of their little one-liners and at least two of them saying we need a redemption or we need closure or whatnot, is that I expected in Deadpool fashion for them to die immediately. Like they were going to be cannon fodder, and then we'd have the rest of the film. And we didn't really. They weren't a huge part of the film, but they did get significant like fight moments, and we didn't get to see them die stupid deaths. So I appreciated it.
Yeah. And what I liked most about it is like they all had their moments to shine in the final fight, but they really took a beat of the story to pause and like, okay, let's have Wolverine talk to X-23, and that's where you got into the backstory of the suit and why he wears it and what happened, which I thought was just a great
fireside
scene.
Chat.
Yeah,
it was a great scene.
Yeah,
I was like, how are they going to do the X-23 justice with not just her being in there and you're not the same guy, and his story still didn't go into specifics, but it was vague enough, but it was clear. It was vague, but it was clear enough that you kind of got what happened. He went on a bender, and he blames himself, and he wears it because they always wanted him to wear it. And that line of, God forbid they actually thought that I wanted to be there. And I was like, oh, that hits, And then him saying, if it's not word for word, it's close to the line that Logan says to X-23 in Logan, which is, whoever you think I am, I'm not that guy. And she says, you never were, until you were. And I just loved it. I thought that was a great exchange. Yeah. Strong scene.
Yeah, very much so.
I need to go back and rewatch Logan. I've only seen it the one time in theaters, so it's been years. So.
Oh wow. Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
I'm actually really happy that Kristen and I watched all of the X-Men movies in release order like a few months ago.
Oh, so that's really great.
Yeah. We got like 30 minutes into Last Stand, and I looked at Kristen and I was like, do you want me just to go to first class? And she was like, yes, go to first class. I'm like, yeah, let's go to first class.
If you really want to see Kelsey Grammer, let's just watch Frasier. Come on. That's just...
So they all jump back in the minivan and go back to Cassandra Nova.
Yeah.
Because, she's their ticket out of this universe. She says she could send him home if she wanted to, but she's not going to. So that was the point of coming back, and there's a epic fight scene, and for some reason, Blade has more of a machete than a sword. I don't know what the purpose behind that was. I wanted him with a sword, but we did get pretty damn good scene of Gambit with his cards and his staff just kicking ass.
Oh yeah,
I love that. I'm a huge Gambit fan. This was perfect for me.
Yeah, that was great. As stupid as he looked, the cards and the staff looked fantastic.
I did not expect this film to write that wrong from X-Men Origins Wolverine. Like, we finally have a movie with these three characters in it, and they're all awesome. Like they all
Yeah.
live up
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
the expectations. I like that they were able to reference some other characters that didn't make an appearance. Like they referenced Daredevil, and Jennifer Garner's like, it's okay.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
not here. It's all right. Don't worry about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you and I had both predicted more that Ben Affleck would make an appearance than Jennifer Garner, but
Yeah.
it was the other way around.
Yeah, I was hoping that since they got the one, they'd get the other. But I get it. Like he's burnt out and had to show up in the J-Lo documentary. So
Right.
I
know. Yeah, he's done enough acting. Like he's supportive this year, but he in that exchange though, yeah, they had the one joke with her, but then they had a divorce joke about Hugh Jackman that the audience audibly went, "Oh, it was apparently Hugh Jackman recently went through a really dirty divorce." And if all of the cameos and of all the actors, I thought it would have been a Jennifer Garner, Ben Affleck divorce joke, but it was in that same exchange in the cabin, and they mentioned a Hugh Jackman divorce, and that whole theater reacted to it like, oh, and I caught it on the back end, and yeah, that was a brutal joke. But again, just the digs. If you aren't paying attention, there's like a dig every 5 seconds, and some of them are more brutal than other ones.
Yeah.
And some of them are at Disney.
Yeah.
And I think it's probably because of Kevin Feige's history with Fox Marvel that a lot of those got allowed, especially the Blade one, because that is very relevant right now with all their issues.
Yeah.
Are they not doing a Blade movie, by the way?
No, they're trying.
They have not canceled
trying?
it yet, but they've gone
Okay.
through several directors, several writers.
Wow.
Ollie's manager has been talking shit about how long it's been since they've cast him. I mean, this is on par now with The Rock's appearance as Black Adam. It's getting to be ridiculous between the time that they announced it, and they haven't even filmed a single thing yet.
At what point do you think they'll take a break from developing a solo Blade movie and just do a Marvel Knights movie where you get Black Knight and Moon Knight and Blade and all those guys?
I mean, that sounds better than the Apprentice bullshit that they were going to do with Blade handing it off to some young girl, like teenage girl vampire. That was the first script, and everybody was like, "We'll burn down Disney if that's the script." So then they decided to rewrite it, and they've rewrote it several times since then. And now you have Snipes coming back with his motherfuckers trying to ice skate uphill joke again, and I'm just like, yes, this is the Blade we need.
Yeah. Holding the Punisher's rocket launcher.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
That's right. I love the Magneto joke. Is tell me Magneto's he's dead. Shit. That fight was great. They go up against Cassandra. Yep. They put the helmet on her, which I didn't realize that's how it worked, but I guess so. Like nobody tried to put Magneto's helmet on Charles, but is that how it works? That it just can't go through it. So if he can't read Magneto's mind, then he couldn't read anybody's mind if it was on his head.
Yeah, I think it blocks the telepathy. So if you put it on,
that was different. Never seen that used before.
Yeah, it's weird to me that they don't acknowledge the fact that Juggernaut is also her brother. Like
they didn't in this film. Even though they did in a Deadpool film, they did say Charles' brother in Deadpool 2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Different variant.
Right.
Right. But then we get a sling ring.
Yeah, that was fun. It was fun, but I knew that because that was in the trailer.
Right.
Yeah.
Wasn't much to it. It's just a
sling ring.
A
doctor came.
by.
Yeah. And it was vague enough that it could have been Strange or it could have been a few different people. So but yeah, Sling Blade.
It's probably Ned from Spider-Man.
Yeah. This is where I did get a little lost in the concept of it. So Paradox and his branch of the TVA is apparently in the MCU, I didn't get that because everybody was like, the moment when they jump through the sling blade thing is when they come into the MCU universe as we know it. It was symbolizing them coming into the MCU. But that means that Paradox's location was always in the MCU?
So they jump back to Deadpool's Earth because he has the machine on Deadpool's timeline to destroy it.
Okay.
So the TVA exists outside of the multiverse, so they just have a workstation there at that subway. Like they're just like an outpost. So they're just working from that Earth for the time being, because they're like separated from the TVA. The TVA proper doesn't know what they're doing. He's gone rogue and wants to do this, so he's in this world to destroy it, essentially.
So the outpost would not have been destroyed if they destroyed the universe?
I think they would have jumped ship.
They would have left. Yeah.
Okay.
Which
So then they aren't, at least physically, they aren't in the MCU at any point in this film.
Just
because I saw a lot of people saying that was the significant point when they jumped through the sling blade thing. That was symbolic of them coming into the MCU, but it really wasn't.
I think the only time they're in the proper MCU is in the Happy Hogan scene.
Mm-hmm.
Right, but that's what I got confused when the MCU version of the TVA gal comes on site. I was like, wait, are they in the same?
The TVA exists for every Earth of the multiverse. So there's only one TVA, but there's infinite Earths. Wait, sorry, no, that's DC.
Wrong one.
So the TVA doesn't change, but the TVA can go to all the different timelines, all the different branches, and those different Earths. So you still have the TVA from Loki that is there, but they can jump to different timelines. So they can come into the Deadpool world. That is the Fox Marvel universe. And they know about the MCU, the sacred timeline.
Mm-hmm.
So he never actually goes there, but yeah, that is the plot, is that Paradox gives him the option to allow his universe to die, and in exchange he can be sent to the sacred timeline with all the Marvel people that are actually there.
Yes.
Yeah. So okay. So I did get a little confused on that.
He's only there to interview with Happy Hogan.
Right. And a lot of people were saying, so it's not really that big of stakes in the film. And I was like, yeah, I guess it's not, but I did still like the dynamic. I liked the sad birthday party. I liked that, even though he brought his girl back from the dead, they're not having a good time right now, and like they didn't. I was worried. I was like, man, are you going to make her out to be like this bitch who doesn't want to be with him after all he did to bring her back? But that wasn't necessarily the case. She was just like, she wanted him to rise to the occasion and knew that he could be more, and he was going through a really low point in his life. And so I liked how it wasn't necessarily they were getting married in the last scene, but it was a growth point in their relationship, and I appreciated that.
Yeah.
So it might not have been the biggest of stakes, but he was trying to save his family of 9 people that were important to him, and I appreciated that.
One thing we haven't talked about with this movie yet is the Deadpool core.
Yeah, well, we just got to that.
Yeah,
we did.
Well, we skipped over it earlier. What did you guys think of all the different versions of Deadpool here?
I don't know much about them. I mean, I know that there are. I knew Dogpool was one. I knew Lady Deadpool was one. And I think I knew that Flying Head Deadpool was another one. But I think I didn't know most of them. And if they're like real references to Deadpools, like in anywhere, why was there a Welsh Deadpool? Don't do that.
Actually, I could answer that because he's my favorite.
Welsh Deadpool's your favorite?
Credits.
What?
And he answers in the credits. So, how much have you watched the Wrexham series?
Wrexham, yeah.
The Wrexham series, Devin.
Oh, I know what it is. I haven't
How much
seen
have you
it.
seen that?
Yeah, none of it, but I know what it's
series.
about. It's about him and Rob
Okay,
McElhenney buying a Welsh football team.
Okay, so there is a player that they brought onto the team after they initially bought it to like give them a star player, to give them a leg up, to get them, to win their league and then move on. His name is oh my God, Paul Mullen.
Yeah.
It is Paul Mullen. He is Welsh Pool. He is credited in the credits. So the star player of the team, I don't know if he's actually in the suit or if he's just credited as being in the suit. I would think that he would be in the suit. But when I saw that on the credits and I saw the last name, because I can never remember his first name, I was like, I liked it even better because at first I was like, oh, is this just some Deadpool that came up in the past year because he bought the team? And no, like it's the
him.
actual guy. It's the actual like one of their star players.
That's fun.
I have not read a lot of Deadpool comics, but I knew that there were a lot of Deadpool variants out there, and I mean it was, I think I liked the Across the Spider-Verse horde of Spider-Man more than the Deadpool core scene, but I still thought it was fun. I thought the Matthew McConaughey cameo was fun, and he was the cowboy.
Oh, didn't totally miss that one. That's cool.
And then Ryan Reynolds' wife was Lady Deadpool.
That's very cool.
I doubt either of them were in costume, but they were credited as the voices for those two.
And then their baby was
their baby was Baby Pool.
Oh,
and their other kid was Kid Pool.
Okay.
Oh, I love it.
I mean, I'll take that over Love. From Love and Thunder, it wasn't as gratuitous as that, but yeah.
So
I thought it was a fun scene, just them going at it.
The I'm looking at IMDb here. Nice Pool is not credited to Ryan Reynolds; it's credited to Gordon Reynolds.
Okay, what's the joke for that?
I don't know. It's just it's somebody who doesn't exist.
Okay. I liked it. I liked his fourth wall break. That was awesome. I cracked up so hard for that. Just the proposal.
Such a solid joke.
That was great. But him being the only one that doesn't regenerate was hilarious. And I thought that was. But right before they fight, Logan puts on the hood. And I have seen a lot of people like shaming the hood, like, it looks cooler in comic form. But I was just like, that's fun. And then the longer he wore it, I'm like, all right, this is getting more and more badass. Yeah. See, this is why they whited out the eyes, guys. Because of this.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it though.
Yeah.
See, this gets into I find it very funny that that's the reaction that people have, because this is one of the things that I remember back when the original X-Men movies were coming out. When I'd go back to school, and the kids that I knew or my friends that I had that read the comics, everyone was so mad about, his costume's not the one from the comic book, it's not the one from the cartoon, like why make the movie, like all this other stuff. And even back then I'm like, do you really want him in a giant banana yellow like spandex suit running around on the big screen? Like, there are certain things that don't translate well, and it's one of those things where it's like they finally got a situation where it would translate well, and now you've got people going, oh, they shouldn't have done that. Like, stop it. Every single person has been asking for this for 25 years.
Yeah.
Like, stop.
They got it.
Stop complaining that they did it.
Yes, we got Captain America in the helmet at one point. We got Thor in the helmet at one point. It was just for one scene, and arguably this was just for one chunk of the movie. But I thought it was fun.
Yeah.
I thought the wide eyes looked great, and definitely by the end, I was like, he looks badass in that
Agreed.
helmet.
He definitely did look like Batman, though.
He did, and that that's been a long-standing thing of that cowl for a while. Yeah, that's been a joke for that.
Yeah.
So I thought that them just slicing and dicing through the Deadpools and then kind of helping each other out and doing an X-23 jump and the bus, and then them crashing out at the end with that picturesque shot that reminded me of the picturesque opening shot in Avengers Age of Ultron. I just thought that was it was that comic panel type styling, and I thought that was great. Yeah. And then Peter saving them at the end. Like,
I love it.
They're all getting up like zombies, and then Peter comes in for the win. That was stupid yet fun.
It was the best way to end it.
It was Deadpool. Like, that's
how you end that fight.
That's the whole Deadpool movie thing. Like, that makes it what it is. Like, everyone has a Peter. Peters are great, and then they all just run over and start going, Peter.
Then the jokes went aside, and the music started taking a more solemn tone, and you had these two characters fighting over who's going to sacrifice himself, and I loved it. I loved the music, like the Madonna music, when the tone shifts and slows down a bit, and they're both kind of trying to convince each other who's best suited to die. And Wolverine's saying, you've got something to live for. I don't, and just let me have this. And him saying, you're the best Wolverine. And I was like, yes. And then immediately reneging on that and hitting him with the fire extinguisher and taking it over. I was like, okay, and only for them to pair up at the end. I thought that was just a really cool scene. Like,
it really
was. Well done.
Oh, did anyone else's audience hoot sexually when Wolverine's top busted off during that scene? Because I would say about 80% of the audience that I was in, everyone fawned when that happened.
It was the obligatory shirtless Wolverine scene, and it was. I mean, it literally exploded off of him. It was not Deadpool. Like, Deadpool apparently is antimatter and resistant, but it just explodes off of him, and you're like, okay, all right, I knew this was going to happen at some point.
I hope I look half as good at 56 than
as
Hugh Jackman does.
Good for him.
Well, somebody was like, I mean, clearly that wasn't Hugh Jackman because he was wearing the helmet. I was like, I don't see why it wouldn't have been. Plus, he takes it off later. So, if anybody has proven himself over the decades to be able to do that, even if at some future point, or maybe it was this film, he's like, hey, give me one of those paint-on abs. I'm tired of doing this. I'm old. I feel like he deserves a pass.
Yeah.
But he's definitely got himself to that level several times for several movies in this franchise. So anytime we get to showcase that, we should.
It's that Music Man workout. The 76 trombones keep the flab away. So
there you
go. Good night, everybody.
The TVA character being everybody, just staring him down at the end. That was great. But yeah, I love them holding hands to take it together, and then surviving, because it was the Guardians of the Galaxy thing all over again. Like, one person can't do it, but as a team, they survived. So I appreciated that.
Yeah.
And then we had the ending where they both get their happy ending. They both get to stay in the universe. They bring X-23 back. I assume the other characters live too?
It was what I assumed too.
I assumed that. I think they just brought X-23 back because, I mean, maybe she was estranged from those kids, but they brought, I don't know the purpose of bringing her back, if not just to have them sitting around a table again.
Was she the same X-23 from Logan? Because she has the glasses.
That was and she did have the glasses and the backpack, and it was definitely her, which I liked. I liked her putting on those glasses for battle mode. That was great.
Yeah.
But so is that where it ended? At the birthday scene? Was that the last scene?
Yeah, because it pans out to the masks on the counter.
That's right. Mm-hmm. That was nice that he invited him over for dinner. I appreciated everybody in that room. I thought T.J. Miller's absence was definitely I couldn't unsee that, but I did like everyone else who was in that room, especially the big bearded guy who I recently watched Deadpool 1 again, and I was like, oh, that's him. I watched that over the weekend. I'm like, that's him. He like makes him get in a fight in the first Deadpool film.
Mm-hmm.
So to bring him back and so yeah, I liked that group of characters just being in that scene. That was cool.
The TJ Miller thing, like I understand his absence more than I like. He had a falling out with Ryan Reynolds too. After Deadpool 2 and other stuff, but like I guess Ryan Reynolds could only have like one feud at a time. So once TJ Miller started feuding with him, he was able to bring Wesley Snipes in. So I'll take it.
And Wesley Snipes' history and allegations were about tax fraud, so a little easier for the masses to be like, Wesley Snipes is back, than TJ Miller. So
absolutely,
yeah.
That's.
But then we get an epic in credit sequence.
Oh, I loved it.
I loved it so much. A lot of it was previous release stuff because you could just you could see the overlays from the behind the scenes X-Men DVD stuff, but I still loved seeing all of that, and they did try to put a lot of the stuff in there, even if it wasn't specifically referenced in this film.
Yeah,
I liked that a lot.
I think there was a few. Go ahead, Ryan.
One of my favorite moments from that was when they had him doing an interview after X-Men 1, and he was talking about his anxiety of like his first day of filming of like being Wolverine, and then they were just montaging like behind the scenes from every single X-Men movie that he was in after, and it was just one of those cool things to like see like, hey, you didn't really have to be anxious about it, dude. You had it in the bag. Like,
you're iconic. Like, look at how well it turned out.
Well, he wasn't originally cast as Wolverine. Like, somebody else was cast and then had to drop out like 2 weeks before filming.
And then when he was cast, nobody liked it because they thought he was too tall and too handsome and too skinny, and everybody thought he was not correct build. Or it was kind of the reverse of Tom Cruise as Jack, what's his face? Jack
Reacher. Jack Reacher.
Oh, yeah.
When he came out and everybody's like, Jack Reacher's supposed to be this hulkish character, similar to Alan, what's his face, who does it for the Prime series.
Oh, yeah.
So it was similar to that, where this guy is too skinny and he's too tall and he's not Wolverine. And, and it certainly wasn't the first casting that has had that reaction between all the Spider-Mans and the Batmans and stuff. But, unlike those actors, he got to stick it out, and he's been in how many films in the role and brought back again and again, and he's cemented it to the point where they could make fun of the short, small version of it in this film, and everybody universally agrees, oh yeah, he's the right guy for the role. That was cool.
Yeah, and I think a testament to that is the fact that X-Men Origins happened, and the studios backed up and said, we're canceling all of our plans for this, we're not going forward, but we need to keep Hugh Jackman as Wolverine. Like, he survived that, and that hardly ever happens, and that just shows how, like, cemented he was as the character. Like...
Right. Apparently there was an earlier version of this film that did have more of the original X-Men coming back. And that version, they were not going up against Cassandra Nova. They were going up against Jonathan Majors. Kang. Yeah. And so, but then, the whole drama went down and they had to write out Kang, and then they just thought it made less sense than to bring in the X-Men as the plot changed. So I'm kind of sad that we didn't get X-Men, but I appreciated that they were at least referenced in that. Yeah. And we got to see new and old X-Men, and we got to see Fantastic Four stuff. Both Fantastic Four stuff, which was nice. They really kind of gave a little glimpse, for that sequence.
I'm very appreciative of the fact that they left out Dark Phoenix and New Mutants completely from that montage.
They left out New Mutants, but they did have the newer cast. I mean, they certainly had the newer X-Men cast in there.
They did, yeah, because there was a lot of first class.
They did leave out New Mutants.
Yeah.
Yeah, I forgot
Whoops.
about that.
Yeah.
But what's her name got a Furiosa reference anyway.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, she did. Yeah.
so yeah. And
So
then the end credit scene just kind of fixed
Little-
the whole Johnny Storm thing because even Wolverine was like, "You just killed that kid. Like, why did you do that?"
yeah.
And then we just get to see Captain America spewing off the most like hateful shit
So
that you
funny.
never thought you'd see Captain
Oh,
America
man.
say. And I loved it. I was like, yes, this is the not another teen movie Chris Evans that I miss and love. So
Oh, absolutely.
that's great. Great.
So, given the success of this movie, the film has already, looking at the box office here, I had it up. Where did it go? It's already made $200 million domestically.
Good.
And then
That's gonna be
another. Where was the global? I had the global up. It made more, 438 million globally.
Is this gonna hit $1 billion by next weekend?
Oh, absolutely.
Like,
I'll
know.
contribute to that.
what's the fastest at this
It
point
will
that a
not.
film's
It will
gone to
not
$1
hit
billion?
$1 billion.
You don't think it's
by
going to hit $1
next
billion?
weekend. You said global. It's at 400, so that doesn't make it 600, right? That makes it 400.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's at 400
it-
right
it
now.
will-
It's
it
not
will
going to
hit-
make.
Oh, hang on a second. Okay, I'm sorry. I thought
Yeah.
when you said global, I thought you meant this is the total outside of the U.S. and then you have the total inside the U.S. and then you put those two together and then you got the 600 million. That's where I was. That's where when you said
It is
global,
the
that's what I was
highest
thinking.
global and domestic opening for an R-rated film in box office history.
Oh, and to answer your question, Ryan, it was Titanic, and it took it 74 days to hit $1 billion.
Okay. So,
Really, In-Game didn't beat that?
No?
No.
Oh,
It was-
I thought
yeah.
In-Game beat that.
Oh, wait, maybe. This was the first one. Sorry.
The first comment here on this Reddit thread is, fun fact, 438 million is also Robert Downey Jr.'s salary for Doomsday and Secret War.
I'm sure it is. I'm sure it is. This movie cost $200 million to make, apparently, before prints and advertising. So
Oh, man.
it certainly needs that money. I've seen a lot of people saying that it is critically underperforming. I just can't see how. I think, like a lot of things, it was hyped up, and a lot of people probably had expectations. But I see this performing pretty well in the box office. I don't know about $1 billion, but I wouldn't be surprised if it did.
So given that box office numbers, and then looking this up quick, opening weekend, Spider-Man: No Way Home made $253 million domestically.
Okay.
The PG-13 label. So
Given the draw that these legacy actors have in these movies, like, how big do you think Secret Wars is going to be?
Ooh.
okay. I don't know, and I don't honestly believe it all yet. Like, it would not be the first time that Marvel's come to SDCC and advertised a film that they never planned to make while they make something else. They've put up the title graphics on the screen, and then a year later, oh, we're just kidding. This is actually what it's called.
I don't think you get the Russo brothers back unless it is Secret Wars, though, because they were very adamant about that's the story we want to adapt. That was our story. Like, that's the one we want to do.
Sure.
And I think if you
they did go out of their way to show that the color graphics on that logo is the newer Secret Wars, not the older Secret Wars. So it's just like I don't know, man. Like, Endgame was something that they built up to, and it worked because of that build-up, and they had such a strong foundation. The Russo brothers coming back is exciting, but for the non-Marvel fan, I don't know how exciting that's going to be. And for as much as they've kind of flopped with the multiverse thing, I don't know if the packing as many people into Secret Wars as you technically could is going to be as impactful as bringing everybody into one film like they did with Endgame.
have they flopped with the multiverse thing though? Because I get that it can be convoluted and confusing sometimes, but two of the biggest films from this phase have been the multiverse films, like Spider-Man: No Way Home and now Deadpool and Wolverine, were big successes because they banked on the legacy characters of bringing back Hugh Jackman and Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield. Go ahead, Ryan.
Sure.
And I think that's where they were successful, and not necessarily the multiverse aspect of it.
Like in the plot of
Yeah.
it.
I really think you need to look at the whole multiverse thing as a whole, including the TV shows. And I work with, like, to be honest, like, you guys are like my friends that like are into this stuff. The majority of the people that I work with are not. So I hear a lot from like non-Marvel like fans about this stuff, and the multiverse thing just doesn't play well outside of people that like on the outside of like the actual like comic book fandom of it.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things that I liked about this movie, is that they kept it simple. They relied heavily more on just like the actors being there and stuff that like people were accustomed to. And like this part of the MCU was great for like the hardcore fans that like have read the comics, who have seen, you know, these shows and everything. But when it comes to like, I mean, the whole multiverse thing tends to lose like, I guess, the general audience.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
But-
think about it. It's of the three multiverse films that I can think of: Doctor Strange, No Way Home, and this. No Way Home and this performed well because it was more about the legacy and nostalgia than the multiverse. Multiverse of Madness did not perform well.
Yeah.
People did not generally receive that well.
Because I think after that coming out after Spider-Man, people were expecting that legacy. And there you had a little bit of that with Patrick Stewart and some other cameos in there. But I really think that they're going to lean into bringing as many people back for Secret Wars as they can. Like, I wouldn't be surprised.
Do you think it'll be one film? Do you think it'll be one film, or are they going to split it up like they did with previous?
I don't know.
I
remember when it was Infinity War 1 and 2, and then they changed it to Endgame? Whichever version of Secret Wars they do, I just can't imagine it being one film. It's just too big.
It's too big. I could see them doing a Matrix thing where they release one at the first part of the year and the second one at like Christmas.
Yeah,
that's kind of what they were originally going to do with Infinity War.
Well, I think especially because there's no narrative buildup to whatever Secret War is going to be. Like, you knew that Infinity War was going to happen almost kind of from the get, and you can start to kind of sweep people up. It almost feels like the only trick that Secret War has is, hey, we'll bring back the old people that you like, and like I'm not bought into it narratively.
For as much as people kind of got annoyed when we'd have Thor just leaving Age of Ultron to go in a cave and talk about the stones and everything, by the time we did get to Infinity War, you know, people who had paid attention were like, all right, we are finally here. Something that they've been teasing since Avengers 1 with Thanos and everything. And then you had all the non-fans brought in by the watch them all, you know, that epic trailer for Endgame that it had a little glimpse of every single movie, and that had the title of every single movie come up.
Yeah.
I saw people's reaction to that being like, holy shit. Yeah. I just don't think a similar reaction would be had if they did all of the Phase 4 films leading up to this, because they're so individual and, just all over the place, and the shows are their own thing. And I'm excited to have Russo brothers come back. But I feel like I don't know how they're going to pull it off without a proper foundation leading up to it. Maybe that's still coming, but I just don't know. All I know that's still coming that we haven't seen yet is the Agatha show and the
Ironheart.
I get Ironheart, which they didn't talk about at all. And then the Captain America movie. So Ironheart's still coming. I totally forgot about that. It's done shooting. Like it's
Oh,
it's
shit.
complete. They've just delayed it, and I don't know if it's going to tie into the Captain America movie or not. But that's apparently still supposed to release. And then they recently released that trailer for Agatha, but that doesn't seem like it's connected at all.
So the next few films we have are the next year we have Captain America: Brave New World, Thunderbolts, and then Fantastic Four.
Thunderbolts.
So
even this year they didn't talk about Ironheart. Like they haven't given an update.
No,
man, are they Batgirling Ironheart?
I don't think so. Like I hope not. But they also didn't talk about Blade. They didn't talk about the Nova series or Wonder Man or.
Neither of those have been filmed yet.
Yeah,
Ironheart.
Well, no, Wonder Man is filming. Wonder Man, I think, has wrapped.
Oh, really?
Yeah. They didn't talk about Armor Wars. They didn't talk about Shang-Chi. The other thing is, this is Comic-Con. They also like to do a lot of stuff at D23, which I believe is happening this year, right, Devin?
I think so. I don't know for sure. You'd think I would. I
Disney
don't.
adult Devin, come on, man.
I'll leave. It's okay.
Remember the days that was it Comic-Con or was it D23 when they would put up the freaking calendar, of phases? Remember those days?
They would do both, and they took a break from Comic-Con to do 23. I think my theory is there's a lot of things that are known to be in production that they did not address at Comic-Con. I think they're saving it for D23, and I think there's going to be a lot more coming out.
Okay.
Like Simu Limu has talked about, like Shang-Chi 2 is happening, but they haven't really officially announced it.
Interesting.
Like there's a
or
lot.
Maybe Disney Marvel saw the recent season of The Boys and how Vought did the same thing with all of their slates of films. They were like, all right, maybe we don't do that this year.
This is embarrassing now.
Yeah. There's also Vision Quest, which I know we're excited about because Terry Metalis coming on for that.
Yeah.
That's right.
But
yeah. Oh, we'll see. Do they give dates for these films or just title treatments?
So that, like in general, or
for the Russo films,
they just. So the article I have here from Rotten Tomatoes has May 1st for Avengers. So for Doomsday, and then May 7th for Secret Wars, which is the first weekend of May is usually the Marvel weekend because it's comic book week, free comic book weekend, and like that's when they start off
years.
The summer.
They don't have years attached to that.
2026 and 2027.
Oh, okay.
So.
All right. Well, okay. Well, I guess I'll believe it when I see it.
Yeah.
I feel like even though those are a few years out, that still seems too close.
Yeah.
But we'll see if it happens. In terms of this film, I did feel like it was a great send-off to the Fox universe. I felt like, I think Ryan, you said that it was more of a send-off to their universe than a fix for the MCU, and I agree with that. It did not feel like an end to Deadpool, so I certainly hope it's not. It did feel like it could be an end to Wolverine, and if it is, while it's not as heart-wrenching as Logan was, it did still feel like a nice topper. So I would be happy if this was the end, but I don't think it will be.
Here's the thing. Like, I can totally see a Secret Wars where, like, Doomsday happens and all the proper MCU Avengers are out of the picture. And then you need a team from the multiverse to come in, and the TVA recruits Deadpool and Wolverine to recruit a team. And
that's fun.
They just get everyone that they can. So Toby, Andrew, Ben Affleck. Ben Affleck is Batman. Like, just everything.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yep.
Tom Hardy's Venom. Like, why not? Like, Morbius.
Throw it in there. No.
The Spider-Woman from Madam Web.
No.
So, that's about all I have for Deadpool and Wolverine. Any other final thoughts?
No, I like this
Yeah, no, I like it too. I said before that I was like 20% lazy.
Yeah, what was your 20?
the whole thing, the movie didn't start for me until the time cop showed up because even though I watched Once Upon a Deadpool, so maybe I missed something. Like I watched it the morning before I went to go see the movie.
Mm.
Didn't Cable say he had juice for like one more jump left in the
Yes,
watch?
but at the end of before he starts doing his time jumps to like save Vanessa and all that, Negasonic Teenage Warhead and Yukio are like messing with the watch to like fix it, so to give it more juice, like they hot wire it to like an actual battery. So that's how he does that.
Okay. Because I was so confused in the movie because I must have missed that. So like I was so confused about like how about like having the watch, him jumping through time, like
It's
getting all these people back, and I was like,
So I watched Once Upon a Deadpool before that too, and it's in the post credits. Like there's 2 post credit scenes to Once Upon a Deadpool. One is him time jumping, the other one is him freeing Fred Savage from the bed.
There's the epic montage of him like
point,
killing himself and stuff.
Yeah.
I get the point that this has been a thing for almost like 15 years now or longer. The whole end credit scenes and like mid credit scenes. But I'm starting to get tired of them like in the middle of the credits and at the very end of the credits. And I forget about waiting and watching because like, oh look, the movie's over. So like unless the end credits scene is like 5 seconds after the movie ends, or like it comes up as a box on the side as the credits are rolling, especially when I'm at home, it's a complete forget and just go. That in the movie theater, like these movies are running 2.5 hours. I have to pee. Like
or longer if it's in game. Yeah.
It's getting to the point of like ridiculousness. Of like
well, you're
how
also
long you've got to wait.
Especially lately, you're rolling the dice on whether it's worth it. Sometimes it's a scene. Sometimes it's literally just like an image with a sound. It's like in game. I remember everybody was waiting till the end, and all you heard was like the dinging of Iron Man in the cave from Iron Man 1.
Or was it Doctor Doom?
Yeah, whatever. He is saying new mask, same
there we
task.
go. Yeah.
But I mean, sometimes it's just like an image and that's it, and you're like, oh great, I waited around for that. In this case, it was a whole scene at the end of Deadpool and Wolverine. That was fun, but I do get it. And so usually when I go, I wait to the credits, and then I Google. Does this one have a credit worth?
Yeah. That's exactly what
I
did.
If it says yes, I stick around. If it says yes, but it's not worth it, I'll be like, I'll watch it on YouTube tomorrow. But if it is worth it, then I stick around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
I'll just say that the 90s kid in me was so happy with this film. I don't know that Blade 2 was the first R-rated film that I ever watched, but it was one of the first, and it was a comic book movie. And I was like, I didn't know comic book movies could be like this. Because I was, at that point, it was limited access to Batman because I was still young. So it was the TV versions. And then it was Christopher Reeve's Superman. And then you had Blade 2, which I saw in its full R-rated content at a friend's place when my parents didn't know. And I was like, this is amazing. And then just to see the progression of those films before MCU proper, and then to get that send off here, I just thought it was great. And the 20th Century Fox thing was spoiled by all those fucking assholes who kept posting pictures of every single little thing from the set of this movie. It was pissing me off, and finally it started pissing other people off to went away. But it had spoiled that, and that's why they put it in the trailer. But just those type of nods I really appreciated, and I just it was a fun movie and a good send off for me to enjoy. So yeah.
All right. Well, I think that does it. We're right about at 2 hours now. So the longest podcast in a while, but 2 podcasts in one. So there you go. If you're watching on You Have to Watch This Podcast YouTube channel, go over to Victim and Villains channel. I'll put the link in the description here. Subscribe to see Josh and I's show, Brilliant But Lazy, where we talk about Marvel, DC, Star Wars, all kinds of pop culture, nerd stuff. We'll be doing more episodes here soon. If you're listening on the Brilliant But Lazy feed, go check out You Have to Watch This podcast on YouTube. Find our episodes there. We live stream every week. And then we also release a podcast on the streaming platforms, wherever you listen to your podcasts. So until next time, for Brilliant But Lazy and You Have to Watch This podcast, I'm Alan.
I'm Ryan.
I'm Devin.
I'm Josh.
And as I end every Brilliant But Lazy episode, in the words of Dr. Fraser Crane, wishing you good mental health.